Oh, it's excellence to zero.
Real boxer, real world champion boxer. That the only other time he was in for the fans to get mad with that was against Fury's Tommy Fury, but it wasn't that level, obviously, and all the size things you just rightfully pointed out. But he would have been in there with, I mean, it seemed crazy.
Gervonta Tank Davis has shocked fans with his jaw-dropping new physique, ahead of his highly anticipated clash with Jake Paul. Known for his explosive power and compact frame, Tank has clearly taken his training to a whole new level. Recent gym footage shows him looking bigger, stronger, and more intimidating than ever, sparking massive buzz across the boxing world. Many believe Davis is bulking up intentionally to meet Paul's size and strength head-on.
We were yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is, by far, the most credentialed guy ever fought actively in his prime. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. He fights at 135 pounds.
Preparation for Jake Paul. Gervonta Davis has reportedly turned his training camp into an all-out war on weakness. His new regimen includes intense strength training, brutal sparring sessions, and relentless conditioning to support his massive muscle gain. Sources say Tank has added heavy compound lifts to build upper body power and core stability, all while maintaining his trademark speed and footwork. To adapt to bigger opposition, he's also sparring larger, more physical fighters, some even resembling heavyweights, to prepare his body for the physicality. That comes.
Yeah, this Santa Cruz out here to catch you.
You can't let it burn, baby. Let it burn. Oh.
Mind over matter, son. Mind over matter.
This is the blues on.
Ain't nobody doing no shit like this. Come in the desert. Nigga trying to stay away from the desert. He come in the desert.
When the night
camera on here.
Light, camera, action.
And fighting for the
Light, action, camera.
Come on, Tank. Come on, Tank. Run out. Run out here. Come on, let me just see. You said, get down in there. Get down. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Remember that gun on it? They got that gun on that tank. They go, time.
when the night is cold.
They ain't gonna keep you here late tonight. Good job.
It's been hard being away from my daughter. She actually here, she sleep. Just being away from her, it was a little touchy, but I know when I'm up, I guess. I know that I got pay-per-view. I know I'm fighting a tough opponent, so really I know how to lock in. I know how to shy away from everything. I know how to, I know how to fool around.
That's 17.
Critics are questioning whether Davis's transformation will actually help him. Jake Paul is a naturally bigger man, and their bout is set with a 195-pound weight limit and 12-ounce gloves. For a fighter who normally competes around 135 pounds, that's a massive jump. Many fear that adding so much weight could slow Tank down and blunt his explosive power, the very weapons that made him one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport. It's a high-risk move that could...
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but Jake Paul now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean,
Gervonta
it's
is
just
fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did you
Jake,
ever watch his highlights?
Jake can
He's
crack,
nasty,
man.
bro.
He's so sick. I love that guy, bro.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skill, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
Commentator Charleston White shared his take on the Paul versus Davis fight, arguing that while the hype is minimal, it might actually benefit Tank. After a stretch of negative headlines and fading momentum, Davis could use this fight to reignite his name both financially and publicly. White admitted that Jake Paul's size, reach, and natural strength would give him a real edge, allowing him to pressure and smother Tank on the inside. He added that while Davis remains the technically superior boxer, stepping into Jake's physical realm could neutralize those advantages. In White's eyes, this isn't just a boxing match, it's a survival test to see whether skill can overcome sheer size.
Is picking Jake Paul to beat Gervonta Davis. This is not a fight that I'm excited for at all. I would rather have Gervonta Davis fighting in a real boxing match against the likes of Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Emmanuel Navarrete, anybody that is in the 135-pound division and around. That's who I want to see Gervonta Davis fight. However, we live in a world where everybody is trying to do things as big as possible. And the biggest fights possible right now, unfortunately for the sport of boxing, is an exhibition fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. So I do like it for this reason, though. I like it because it is allowing Gervonta Davis to have a fight that is going to be big and that the mainstream media is going to have to cover, the mainstream media outside the world of boxing. Gervonta Davis has been, without a doubt, blocked, having venues blocked, having fighters, having other promoters paying fighters away to go different directions from Gervonta Davis. So Gervonta Davis was in a bit of a hole. And he gets an opportunity to fight Jake Paul for $200 million or whatever. I don't mind it at all. As long as Gervonta Davis comes back to the world of boxing after he gets done with this, hey man, you got your money, no worries. But you gotta love Dana White having the audacity to pick Jake Paul in this fight and says something to the effect that, hey, he was talking to Logan Paul and said, hey, when you were fighting Floyd, you know, there was this, you're a gigantic guy, big size difference. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather Jr. had an overhand right that landed flush on Logan Paul.
Bare knuckle. Fighter and former UFC star Mike Perry didn't hold back when discussing the rumored bout. He slammed Davis for taking what he called a cash grab fight instead of pursuing real boxing challenges. Perry questioned whether Tank still has the same hunger that once made him a world champion, suggesting his focus has shifted from legacy to fame. He even went so far as to say Jake Paul might be hungrier and more dedicated at this stage of his career. Perry's comments sparked heated debates among fans, with some agreeing that Davis has lost his fire.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-offs this Tank done. He gets their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis. And the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant to be an insult. It is meant to take away from a potentially glorious moment for Jake. But where the compliment comes is it means the public believes he's gonna win. That's what it means.
Boxing legend Teddy Atlas also weighed in, humorously saying that Tank looked so small next to Jake Paul that he'd need a ladder just to reach his chin. Atlas acknowledged that boxing often sees mismatches in style, but rarely in sheer physical size. Like this. Comparing it to Canelo Alvarez moving up to face Terence Crawford, Atlas noted that even that jump wasn't as extreme. He warned that Davis's lack of natural reach and body mass makes this fight appear more like a spectacle than a fair contest. More show business than sport.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunder Lips. He was Thunder Lips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky 3.